Thank you guys for joining us for another episode of Art a la Carte, your online art lessons. I've had a lot of people asking how to draw angel wings, how to draw fairies, how to draw Pegasus, herds of Pegasus. Pegasus? I don't know. Anyway, but before we can do any of those, I wanted to take a close look at how bird wings are drawn, what makes them. Because a lot of times when we draw a bird wing, we just go like that and call it a bird wing. And there's a lot more that goes on to a wing than just that. And I find when drawing something, it's great to have references, but you might not always have a picture of a bird or a bird's wing. Let's look at our own, how our own body is put together to kind of think about how a bird wing is. So here you have your shoulder coming down with your humerus bone. That's where all your funny bone is. Humerus. Okay. Elbow, and then your radius, and then of course the palm of your hand. And obviously you have a joint to bend here, a joint to bend here, and your wrist bends here. So all these things work together. Let's look at another wing, not so much a bird wing yet, but bat wing arm. So similar, coming down, elbow up to what would be the hand, and really creepy fingers. Then of course stretched along with some really cool skin. So even just from this drawing, you could see how you could draw yourself a bat wing. I probably will do a video if you guys want on specifically how to draw kind of a bat wing. They're kind of fun because from the bat wing then you can get some really good like dragon wings and things. So seeing how these two are set up, let's see how a bird wing is set up. So we're going to kind of draw out very similar to the build up for an arm, a human arm or a bat wing, but we'll change a few things. So we're going to start off with where the wing is connected, kind of the shoulder. We're going to come down, but it doesn't have that long, the humerus bone, which isn't called the humerus bone in a bird, but for our reference, is much shorter. So we're just going to come down just a little bit to what would be their elbow. And then it goes quite long from there. So their radius bone, which would be our radius bone, not theirs, because I'm sure bird bones are named different things. This bone here, coming to their, what we would consider our palm, is much longer than this. And then kind of would be their fingers, which would be their wings. But I made this wing really big, so I'm going to zoom out a little bit. There we go. Blurry, there we go. So we have this kind of shape here, but I'm going to come down with my feathers here. So it kind of has this nice zigzag shape. Now these feathers coming out here are called our primary feathers. And from this we're going to have this really cool shape that kind of mimics this shape here. It's going to come up a little bit, and then when this bone starts coming down, it's going to come down. And then when this bone goes back up, then it's going to come up quite fast. It's not going to come up and meet this, but it's going to come up fairly close. So you have basically this shape here. Depending on the type of bird, these feathers may be longer or shorter, and things may change, but this is just a basic bird wing shape. Alright, so that's our shape, much different than the other little just shape that we did before. So let's look at the feathers here. So we have down here from this point to this point are what are called the primary feathers. And so they're very long and individual feathers. And so you get some really good swooping shapes here. And they're all kind of, you want the axis to kind of be right in this area. So all these lines for these feathers are going to pinpoint out of here. You won't draw them all the way up here because there's other feathers up here. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But that's kind of where their axis is. You don't want to just kind of go woo, 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 woo. Okay, once you hit this bend, then these feathers change a little bit. Oh, I gotta shut my door. My door is creaking. So once the feathers meet this point here, then they're going to change slightly. They go from being primary feathers to secondary feathers. And they're not going to go up as high. They're only going to go up half as high. Their pivot point is going to just be straight down. So they're not going to pivot from any general location. And so I'm going to draw my feathers here. And you can have a little overlapping if you want. Kind of adds a little variance to them. And as they go up this way, they're going to get a little bit shorter. So here we have our wing with our primary feathers, our secondary feathers, and then these feathers up here are kind of grouped together. They are the covert feathers. Primary coverts, secondary coverts, marginal coverts. I'm getting really technical. You don't need to know that, but it's fun to know. So they're going to be similar, but they're just going to be much smaller. So they're just going to come around here, right there, and then, so those are the primary coverts. Here's the secondary covert. Sounds like school. And see what I'm doing here? You don't have these overlay exactly over top. Have a little variance in them. So primary, secondary coverts, and then these up here are called the marginal coverts, and those are the very fine tufted feathers. So you're not really going to see a lot of individual feathers. You might just see a little extra fluff. Fluff, fluff, fluff. Like so. So there we have our basic bird wing. Probably way more detailed in the naming of the different feathers than what you were wanting. But just in case you wanted to know, there it is. If you were like, man, I wish there was a video on YouTube that showed you how to draw a bird wing with all the names of the feathers, and someone just went talking on and on and on. I've given you that video. Here it is. Thank you. You're welcome. I'm going to draw a really quick sketch of a bird and kind of show you how putting those knowledge of how the bird feather goes will help you out with that. Are you going to need to know the name of every single bird feather on a bird's wing? Probably not. I survived most of my artistic life not knowing the names of every single feather, so I think you'll be good too. The most important thing is to understand the shape and how things are put together. You don't have to know the names. There we go. Our bird flying. Hopefully you were able to pick out something new from this video. Even if it's just now that you can identify every feather in a bird's wing. I don't know. Thank you guys for sticking around and drawing with me today. And I always have new videos coming out each week. Or you can always go back and look at some of my previous videos. I draw lots of different things. Remember to hit that subscribe button if you're not already a subscriber so you don't miss any other future videos coming out. And we will draw again real soon. God bless you guys. Bye-bye.